Hi everyone, Lipthany Hair Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of the new Russ album, Zoo. New Jersey rapper, songwriter, producer Russ, he is back with a new album since dropping his breakthrough record last year, There's Really a Wolf. Musically speaking, 2017 was a pretty huge year for Russ, but while his album was doing numbers and going platinum, it seemed like he was gaining attention for all the wrong reasons. In numerous public statements, he just took a really confrontational tone with the current state of hip-hop, which put a lot of eyes on the guy but didn't really do all that much for his public image. And it's not that I think this new wave of hip-hop and trap music are above critique. I make it my business to do that on a weekly basis, and I'm still here. But what I think Russ isn't really appreciating is who's the messenger here and what is the intent of that message. Because Russ is not coming at the genre with the experience and the classic discography of a vet. Even though he has quite a few projects under his belt, he's really at the point in his career where he's just kind of getting started, and why should anybody listen to you? Just because you rap and produce and you have one platinum album, it doesn't make you God's gift to the genre. And it also seems like a lot of his critiques on this new wave come from a really awful place. Sometimes he's deriding the drug culture in the genre at the moment. Sometimes he's attacking a perceived lack of talent or authenticity, both of which seem driven by this very obvious bitterness over not being welcomed with open arms into the current state of hip-hop, which is really odd because technically speaking, it's not like Russ is all that much better. Topically, he's only a shade less materialistic and even chauvinistic than a lot of these other rappers that he's making fun of. The song From a Distance is all about him rapping and singing about this girl next door who he's like continuously cheating on the road, and basically expecting her to just sit there and wait for his short ass because he needs time to adjust to being famous. And believe me, you'll never go too long on this album without hearing Russ brag about how much money he's made, his mansion, how he's buying his family houses, he's taking care of everybody, he makes this, he makes that, he has this, he has that. You cannot continuously throw shots at this new generation of rappers while simultaneously being mediocre at best yourself. And to go back to Russ's previous attacks on drug culture, it doesn't really seem to come from a place of sympathy for addicts or addiction. It all just feels like an extension of his superiority complex, which he just can't seem to get a hold of. Now, listen, I wouldn't normally go this deep into the personality and the drama surrounding a particular artist before I get into talking about the music that's actually on their album. But the problem is that Russ also uses his music as a platform to blow off steam about the hate he receives for being a hater. The closing track, flute song, Outlaw, Kill Them All, there are numerous songs on this record where Russ is just going off about other young rappers being dumb and ignorant and drugged out and materialistic. The industry, journalists, all the lies told about him, the hate, the pressure, his lone wolf status. He even drops a bar on this record about other rappers playing the same festivals he does, but when they see him in person, oh, you guys talk shit on the internet, but you don't do nothing. Which is a line I could have passed or taken in stride had my review not come after this recent story of him sending people he knows to beat up Smoke Perp just because you guys have like some online rap beef. It's pretty weak to hear tough talk from somebody who needs to send other people to hurt their enemies for them because they can't do it themselves. Honestly, the attitude that permeates a lot of this record isn't too unlike that of Eminem's recent album, Kamikaze, an artist who's found themselves in the midst of an incredible amount of success, but they're still angry at the whole world and they are gonna take their anger out on everyone. Except Russ doesn't have any of the hits that Eminem does, nowhere near the same skill level or talent. He doesn't even really have a unique voice or rap style or production style. Even though it does lead to some of the more aggressive and compelling moments on the album, Russ really does waste too much breath attacking these flavor of the month rappers who are going to disappear in the next 5 years, whether he comments on them or not. Which is why it is hilarious projection to hear Russ ranting on this album about all these journalists and rappers are just hating on me for the clout. Meanwhile, if this new wave of hip-hop didn't even exist, what would you be so angry about? Where would you be? What would you be doing? I can tell you one thing, if this album didn't come out, I would review another album. I'd still have work to do. But if Russ didn't have anyone to hate, what would he be doing? Well, he would most likely be dropping gentrified, lovesick pop rap tunes like the track Missin' You Crazy, or boring, bland, pillowy luxury rap on the track Last Forever with Rick Ross and Snoop Dogg. At his worst on this album, Russ just jams these buttery bops that sound like if Drake didn't have any personality or the ability to write a mega hit. When he's tolerable, it kind of sounds like he's throwing it back stylistically to the late 90s. The flows are above average, the beats are very polite, but they boom and bap a little bit. Occasionally there's a clever bar, he sounds a little angry. Seems like he's kind of enjoying himself, getting back at his haters. Certainly tracks like Outlaw and Kill Them All are pretty cool if I ignore who the music is coming from. And to add to that, I was legitimately captivated by the track Parkstone Drive, where Russ does spit some compelling bars about how money, fame, and a bad marriage between his parents were kind of tearing his family apart. It's easily the most respectable expression of emotion on the entire record. However, a handful of likable or tolerable songs do not prevent this Titanic from sinking, because it is really weighed down in a lot of awful and boring songs. Not to mention Russ's crummy mindset. Because honestly, there are a lot of rappers out there that get clowned for being corny. Guys like Logic and J. Cole, G-Eazy, Hopsin, Drake, Joyner Lucas too. A lot of these guys more talented than Russ, being made fun of more than Russ. However, they've somehow managed to take it in stride and handle it with more grace. This is a very tiresome and self-centered album, with very little in the way of an appeal outside of people who are somehow invested in Russ's struggle, or have somehow been tricked into thinking that Russ firing back at his haters qualifies as smart social commentary. Meanwhile, the poppier tunes on this record just sound like hip-hop music for people who write that they listen to everything but rap and country in their dating profile. I'm feeling a light to decent 3 on this thing. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Russ, Zoo, forever.